Hello again, it's Kate here for my autistic blog, and I was thinking whether people thought that as autistic people we're not always aware of coolness or hipness, and I had written this book in the noughties called Little Guide to Unhip. This is it, and so I wrote that in the noughties, and it was published in 2010, and then it had a different cover. I changed covers several times, and then I went indie and self-published. But this latest cover was I won an award, not an award. I won something for somebody to redesign my cover for free. So her name was Deborah, I can't remember her surname, but she worked for somebody called Tugboat Design. I had some input to this, and so yeah, that was. But what made me think about doing this blog this time? I was hoping to do it sometime, but it reminded me that I listened to Gilbert O'Sullivan was on my iPod the other day, and Gilbert O'Sullivan actually inspired me to do the book, in fact, because I thought he's very unhip, and I wondered, so that was the inspiration for the book. And I was listening to No Matter How I Try came on my iPod the other day, and I thought, I might as well do my blog about Little Guide to Unhip now, but and a lot of I don't mean naff. He's a very good songwriter, so I'm not confusing unhip with naff, although sometimes the two can go together. But he is a very good songwriter, but I just don't think he's that hip. And people may disagree with me. I know some people have, but it's when I was about 2010, I went on this site hosted by HarperCollins called Autonomy for Authors, and people would upload samples of their book, and I uploaded samples of Little Guide to Unhip. And there was another author on there called Tony Shelley, who became my friend, and he's written a book called Rock, Paper, Slippers, and very good book. But funnily enough, we've both written about Gilbert O'Sullivan, how we didn't rate him as a cool person. I mean, in my book I mention I introduce each section. Gilbert might well ask why, oh why, oh why he hasn't enjoyed a resurgence when so many of his contemporaries have gained credibility with time. But poor old Gilbert remains as unhip as ever, possibly even more than ever. Gilbert O'Sullivan was first and foremost a songwriter, which would normally grant an artist immunity from the vagaries of fashion. But when Gilbert O'Sullivan went out, he never came back in, etc. And there's lots of different sections, and it's not just about people. I've included some people like Leo Sayer, who I saw twice. Knew that was unhip though. And but yeah, and there were other traits, for instance, like being early birds and not realizing the protocol of how to behave, or I felt I needed to be on time, and I was early for everything, or just never fashionably late. And although I'm diagnosed with ADHD as well, I think that that is perhaps, even though people with ADHD feel anxious and things are chaotic, that I think that they can come across as perhaps more cool because they might be fashionably late or spontaneous, or seeming to throw caution to the wind, and not worrying about every last penny, wanting new experiences like festivals and clubbing. And I put these in the book. And making lists I put as a uncool thing, but maybe that's an ADHD thing to help with executive function dysfunction. And I might have changed my mind on a few since, because I had a lot of engagement in 2010 and when I first published the book, but 2010 is a long time ago now. And yeah, I was just thinking that many of the things I mentioned are to do with specific sensory needs. I mean, I think umbrellas aren't very cool, but you know, I use them because I don't like the feeling of being wet, or you know, socks under sandals, carpets on the floor, are you know, are all because I like to have warm feet, and I don't like, you know, wooden floors. I find they look nice, but they're noisy and colder, and so yeah. And there was something else I was going to say, and things like, I mean, I mentioned colours like beige and navy, and I don't wear these colours a lot. I do have a navy cardigan, but you know, that's maybe to do with sensory as well. You know, too bright colours perhaps might be you know, cause sensory overload. So yeah, I just wondered. Anyway, I'll be very interested in if I get round to writing this up. I would be very interested, or you know, if you can comment on wherever I post it, I'd be very interested in your own experiences and whether you feel sometimes being autistic is quite unhip and uncool, and you do unfunky things, and but you know, this comes into conflict sometimes with ADHD. I think the autism is more uncool and the ADHD is more cool, but that's just me. I just, you know, my tentacles, my radar are probably completely wrong, but it's about what's subjective anyway. And anyway, if you want to read the book, this is in paperback, and it's also in as an ebook. But no, obviously no obligation. But I just thought if anybody's interested, I might as well do a quick plug. Anyway, I've gone on for long enough now, so I will say that's all for now. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next time.